Is everyone ready? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I have to my left Chief of Staff Mike Rock, the Winnebago County State's Attorney's Office. To my immediate right is Chuck Davidson, Commander of the Winnebago-Boone County Integrity Task Force. And to his right is Chief of Police with the Rockford Park District, Theo Glover, who is Chair of the Winnebago-Boone County Integrity Task Force. I wanted you to join us this morning to provide you on an update regarding the task force investigation that began on October 2nd, 2020 of an incident involving suspect Tyris Jones. This incident, as you know, occurred near the intersection of Harrison and Springfield and Illinois Route 2. I wanted to update you that Tyris Jones has been released from the hospital. He was released on October 18, 2020. He is currently lodged in the Winnebago County Jail. He is lodged on outstanding warrants that were outstanding on October 2nd, 2020. Those warrants are aggravated discharge of a firearm that was issued July 29, 2020 with a $400,000 bond. A warrant issued August 26, 2020 for aggravated domestic battery with a $250,000 bond. And a warrant issued September 21, 2020 for aggravated domestic battery with a $250,000 bond. Mr. Jones is scheduled to appear in bond court this afternoon at 1:30 in courtroom B as in boy. The criminal cases will proceed through the criminal justice process. As with any charges, these charges are merely allegations, and Mr. Jones is presumed innocent until or unless proven guilty in a court of law. The Integrity Task Force investigation is still active and underway. As with any investigation, there are multiple components to the investigation, and once the investigative materials have been completed, they will be turned over to the Winnebago County State's Attorney's Office for my review. And at that time, I will determine whether or not charges are warranted regarding the results of the Integrity Task Force investigation. I am pleased that Mr. Jones has been released from the hospital. I am also prayerful that he will continue to recover from the injuries he has sustained. I want you to also be aware that his medical care and needs are being met by medical staff at the Winnebago County Jail. At this time, I'll ask Chuck Davidson if he would like to come forward and have a few comments, and then we'll take questions, and we'll be happy to answer questions that we are able to answer, keeping in mind that it is an active and ongoing investigation. Thank you.
I'll be brief and just add that the investigation is active, ongoing. We have several officers working on it diligently and hope to wrap it up soon. We're working as quickly and as furiously as we can and hope to have it wrapped up soon. That's about all I can add at this time.
I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
The family has said that, or people have said that he was in critical condition when he was in the hospital, and now you're saying he's been released. Can you tell us what condition he's in at this point?
I can tell you that obviously medical staff believe that he was well enough to be released to the jail. The jail does have medical staff that comes in. I believe that the details of his health at this time is better left to his family members, but I can tell you that he has been released and is in custody at the Winnebago County Jail.
So he is being lodged in the
He is currently lodged in the Winnebago County Jail, and his medical needs are being met.
And you said he's going to appear in court today at 1:30 for bond court?
Yes. Courtroom B at 1:30 in the Criminal Justice Center.
Did you guys recover any video? Did you actually have video or any private citizen video?
I can tell you that the investigation is underway and active, and obviously anyone who has information, the Winnebago-Boone County Integrity Task Force welcomes that information. At the conclusion of the investigation, investigative materials will be released, not at this time, as you know. We operate under rules of professional ethics, which require us not to release any information that may create animus towards anyone that could potentially be charged regarding a criminal, investigation. And because that investigation is open and active, any information regarding the details will not be released at this time.
And is he able to walk or talk?
My understanding is that he is, with assistance, walking. That's my understanding. But again, the details of his care, I believe, is best left to his family members. But what I can tell you, and the reason I'm here today, is to update you that he has been released and that he is currently lodged at the Winnebago County Jail.
I have a question for Commander Davidson, actually. So, I know that you guys had a conference back on October 3rd and discussed some of the things that you found preliminarily. One thing that we wanted to ask you about was just in what context did the officer conduct the stop? Was it a general traffic stop and then it turned into understanding who this man was, or did he know that this was Tyris Jones when he decided to conduct the stop?
I'm not sure I'm ready to answer that question right now, based on the investigation still ongoing. So you'll get the answers when the investigation is released, and we have all our answers and put it all together for the state's attorney. Should issue a response to everything that was involved at that time.
Well, the last thing, you said soon. It's been 16 days since the first conference. Is there any time frame that you can release for when we can expect more details to become available?
I hesitate to give you a full timeline or a date, but I can say that the investigation is progressing nicely, and it should be done in a matter of weeks.
I don't know who could answer this, but I know in the last press conference you guys talked about how there was a appearance that he had a weapon. Can we just get clarification? Was it he was reaching in his pocket? Was it he looked like he had something in his hand? We just want some clarification on that.
Okay, so I think that was clarified at the first press conference, that he appeared to have a weapon in his hand, is how I phrased it. I continue to phrase it in that way. But I'd also like to answer the previous question. As you know, any investigation takes the amount of time that it takes for the investigation to be completed. And please bear in mind that there are multiple facets and components to any investigation. Each investigation is unique. Law enforcement is always working to move the investigation forward in a responsible manner, but understand that the investigation has to be thorough and complete. And if it is not, then there would be further directives from the state's attorney to follow up on any additional information.
I have a question in regards to the investigation, as much as you can say, and specifically for the commander. Can you talk about what happens on a day-to-day basis with the investigation to kind of help the public understand what's going on? The public has said that it seems like everything is in the dark and they don't know what's going on. So, how many people are working on the actual investigation? What does that look like on a day-to-day basis?
Well, before the commander comes forward, I will address what I addressed at the original press conference. And if you were present, you will recall that I put up several slides so that the public could be aware of the process. So the investigation, first of all, will be conducted by a team of investigators who are not members of the involved department, in this case, the Rockford Police Department. So it will consist of investigators from all of the other multiple agencies that are members of the task force. And currently that includes all law enforcement agencies in Winnebago County and all law enforcement agencies in Boone County. As far as the number of investigators working on the case, I will defer that to Commander Davidson. Thank you.
As far as the number of investigators working, it varies. Obviously, there's detectives and agents involved from the Illinois State Police, Loves Park Police, Winnebago County Sheriff's Department, Boone County are primarily the ones charged with working the investigation. There's also assistance with the Illinois crime scene our CSI personnel. They're also doing reports, and obviously they handled the scene there at the incident that night. And there's also several others. It's handled like any other investigation's handled, interviewing witnesses, obtaining documents, historical stuff, officers' reports, interviewing witnesses, tracking down witnesses, just like any other investigation would be handled. Instead of Rockford being involved in it, since it's a task force case, Rockford's excused from the investigation, and the Integrity Task Force agencies that are involved, those detectives handle the investigating of the case, just like State's Attorney Marilyn Hite Ross had just alluded to.
How often do you guys meet?
It depends.
Can you give me a number, like is it weekly or?
No, it's not weekly.
Okay.
It's basically made up of investigators who are trained, investigators, have experienced investigators throughout those different agencies.
At the time of the stop, can you see how many officers were on scene?
Not at this time, because I don't have the full investigative materials, number one, and number two, that information will become available in the future.